Good morning, gang. Happy Friday morning. Okay, here we go. It's shopping season for Christmas, right? And everybody's looking around going, damn, it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter trying to buy Christmas presents. Hell, to buy food, to buy almost anything. Gas is down. That helps, okay? But you're not incorrect when you're saying that your paycheck isn't going as far as it used to, depending on where you live. Okay, this is kind of interesting. Now, in the interest of comparing apples to apples, okay, and I know people dispute this, I do, etc., because as I've said many times, I could care less what the cost of a new sewing machine is when they calculate that into inflation. Okay. But in order to compare apples to apples, I want to use government statistics on both of this. All right. We're falling behind. Newsflash, like nobody knew that. But now we actually can prove it, that what we've been saying all along has been true, that no, the economy has not gotten significantly better. And I'll show you why. Okay. In June of 2024, the inflation rate in the United States, again, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics, was 3%. In June of 2025, the inflation rate was 3%. Didn't move, okay? That's 6 months of Biden, that's 6 months of Trump. Didn't matter. Okay. Now, the most recent stats that we have now show, as of October, inflation is at 2.8%. So yes, inflation is heading in the right direction, and I'll take a 0.2% drop. Okay. I mean, that's what, 8% of the inflation rate cut. Okay, we'll take it. So stuff is 2.8% more expensive now than it was last year. Nobody can argue with me, right? And everybody will say it's more, but I'm going off of government stats because I want to compare the latest one that came out. And that is how much people's paychecks have grown in the last year, okay? June of 24 to June of 25. I want you to look at this graphic. We're going to watch this one for a few minutes. This is a map per Bureau of Labor Statistics that just came out. Wage growth by state. Okay? Take a look on here and see what the wage growth of your state is. Wherever you live, if it's not above 3%, your spending power is less than it was last year. Means obviously you can't buy as much stuff with the amount of money you have this year as with the money you had last year. Okay, so you take a look at it. Where are some people getting ahead of the game? Idaho. That's interesting. Okay. And Mississippi. I'm betting those aren't the top two states that you would expect to be growing wages the fastest. Idaho and Mississippi, really? Okay. So these people are getting ahead of the game. The other ones, this is the list of the ones that are above 3%. Okay. Idaho, Mississippi, Georgia, Vermont, Kansas, Texas, and Nevada. The end. Okay. That's it. So you got what? 7 states that are actually growing wages faster than the rate of inflation. 43 aren't. Let's take a look at the bottom states. The ones that people are making less money this year than they were last year. Yet inflation's still going up. So these people are getting a double whammy. Higher prices and lower pay. Starting from the bottom. New Hampshire's the worst. Tennessee is next. Okay. South Dakota, North Dakota, New York, Michigan, Maryland, and Louisiana, all in the negatives. You have people making less money. Let's not get into the value of the dollar going down. Let's not get into cost of everything going up. You're literally making less money. New Hampshire, nearly 2%. You had a $100,000 check last year. This year, you've got $98,300. Okay? Now, take a look at that list of what I'm saying and go, what do they have in common? And you're going to find nothing. Okay? The best states, Idaho, Mississippi, Georgia, hardcore red states. And then number 4 is Vermont, the bluest of the blue. Okay? Then add Kansas and Texas, again, red states, Nevada, which is kind of purple. All right? So you can't say, oh my God, the conservative states are wonderful. If you look at the bottom list, okay? New Hampshire, purple. Tennessee, solid red. South Dakota, red. North Dakota, red. New York, blue. Michigan, purple. Maryland, blue. Louisiana, red. This isn't a one side's better than the other issue economically. This is a overall FUBAR mess of the U.S. economy. No, we're not going to have equity in wages by state. I'm sorry. IT wages may go up more than farming wages, or farming wages may go up more than IT wages. So comparing wage growth in Kansas, comparing to wage growth in California, you don't have the same industries. It doesn't quite work that way. Okay. The bigger one that you have to look at is taxes. And I'm not talking about income tax, because hell, if you look at the bottom 2 states, the ones with the lowest wage growth, New Hampshire and Tennessee, neither one of them have state income tax. None, okay? But you have to look at the other taxes that get added on to your employer. What are property taxes? I can tell you this, in New Hampshire, they're ridiculous, okay? Tennessee, they're not bad at all. But, all right, what are sales taxes? Well, let's look at it this way. In New Hampshire, there's no sales tax. In Tennessee, we've got a pretty high one, okay? Companies have to pay all this. And this is where it comes to the businesses. This is where it comes to the industries. What would you consider to be the number one? These are the highest wage growth states. The number one industries in Idaho, Mississippi, Georgia, Vermont, Kansas. I'd be hard-pressed to say food production is number one, if not in the top 3. You throw Texas in there, which is the next one best down the list. Okay, oil's certainly going to be number 1. I'm betting food production, cattle, is going to be in there too. So you start reading into this. Look at the bottom ones. New Hampshire, food production, no. Tennessee, food production, no. South Dakota, North Dakota, maybe a little bit, but primarily what you're looking at there again is oil. All right. New York, absolutely not. Michigan, maybe apples and cherries, but that's about it. Okay. Maryland, I'm sorry, your crab market is not carrying the state. This should tell you something if you start breaking this into it. Where is the money? Where are the jobs? Remember, I've talked about this one before, when the auto industry collapsed in Michigan. Last one out of Michigan, turn out the lights. Okay? Where are people going to leave? I don't think they're leaving New Hampshire, live free or die. They're certainly not leaving Tennessee. I can speak that from around here. People are moving in like crazy. But we're seeing a shift of where people are moving and why. Where are they moving to? I don't know. Start a life, further their career, or retire? You need to pay attention to this stuff because it kind of tells us where we're going forward. Where do I want to be? Personally, I'm not thrilled to see that the wages in Tennessee are going down. But then again, I'm retired, so I'm not earning wages, so it doesn't affect me. But I can see why young couples or people who are trying to further their career might not want to be looking to move here. You might be doing yourself damage in your household economics. Oh my God, I'll never move to Mississippi. Really? Okay. You don't want to live in Mississippi. I don't know why, because you may expand your horizons a lot better than most everywhere else. I want to live in the Big Apple. Again, don't ask me why under Mom Donnie, but hey, great. You know what? Your wages can go down year over year versus living in Mississippi where your wages can go up year over year. Do I want to get ahead of the game or do I want to be behind the game? These are things to pay attention to for your kids, for your grandkids. Obviously, I've got one that will soon be in the workplace. Okay? She will finish school in May. I will be doing a deep dive with her on economics of areas and payroll, if you will. As a recruiter, I can tell you this. I had many, many, many conversations with candidates, people looking for jobs. And I worked with high-end people, okay? I worked with, I recruited C-level executives. I recruited presidents and vice presidents, high-end managers. You'd think these were very intelligent people. And the lack of understanding for basic economics was dumbfounding to me. Even the people in the accounting field. Quality of life notwithstanding, okay? I will give you one example. There was a company I worked with, this goes back about 15 years now, that moved its operations from the Bay Area of California to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Now, I will absolutely agree with you. There's a hell of a lot more to do in the Bay Area of California than there is in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. No question whatsoever. But when people were being offered jobs that were, the company moved because it would save them money, right? Okay. Real estate wasn't expensive, taxes weren't ridiculous, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. At the time, when I was looking at software engineers, senior software engineers, they were paying about $140 in the Bay Area. They were paying $110 to $120 in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And people were like, hell, that's a pay cut. I can't take that. Okay? Look at the price of a house in the Bay Area of California. Look at the price of a house in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Look at the cost of food. Look at the cost of entertainment, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, you can go online and see all this and see how it equivalates. But people didn't get it. All they saw was the bottom line. Sure, the bottom line is important, but what you can get for it, inflation, and inflation's different in every state, no question, okay? Again, the same thing. We could say it's a 3% national average, but do not tell me that inflation in California is 3%, all right? Gavin Newsom will figure out how to add 3% in taxes to everybody while sitting on the toilet in the morning. What do you think Mamdani's going to do? You think 3% inflation in New York City? Yeah, right. Okay. Research if you're looking at moving, if you're considering moving, if your kids or grandkids are, if they're starting a career, if they're looking at a promotion. Take a look at what state is keeping up with inflation and what state's falling behind. Take a look at the cost of living in these states. The bottom line is not the only important number. Pinball out.